Right, technique. I'm assuming that you've already gotten all of your equipment, and if you haven't, go the fuck back to the last module. Go do that shit. But if you have, then good on you, and now you're going to learn about technique. The technique for most of these is pretty simple. For wrist curls, if you're doing it with a barbell, all you really have to do is make like a V shape with your arms. Because when you flex your wrist, it isn't in a straight line, is it? It goes to the side a little bit. And when you're doing wrist curls, the barbell is straight, of course. So you've got to compensate for your wrist movement by moving your arms out as much as possible and keeping your elbows as close together as possible. This just minimizes wrist pain, which is obviously something you want to avoid. Now, I've also seen a lot of people do wrist curls with a really short range of motion, so they'll just be doing them like that. And that's okay in some situations. Again, if you're training really specifically and you know exactly what you're training for, then you can use whatever training style you want. But I'm assuming you just want to train for hypertrophy. So, you want to get a massive range of motion. That means stretching out your fingers. Imagine you've got the barbell there. You're holding it. It pulls your hand down like that. And then you want to let the weight kind of open up your fingers like this. And once you've done that, you just curl it back up all the way. So you want to get full wrist flexion and full wrist extension just to maximize the range of motion. For wrist extensions, it's pretty simple. You just have your whole forearm being supported by a bench, by your leg, just something that can support your forearm. Because if you do it like I do it, where you've got your forearm resting on your leg, let's say your knee is roughly like in this area, yeah? If your forearm is lifted up like this, there's going to be a lot less range of motion because the weight can't stretch your forearm as much. So the most optimal position you could have your forearm in is perfectly horizontal so that you can have gravity all the way from the bottom to the top of the movement. Wrist roller is also super simple. Pretty much the only thing you got to do is make sure you don't really move your arms around. So when I started doing wrist roller first, I made my first wrist roller. I chucked a 5 kg dumbbell onto it and I did it like this. It looked super silly and I really didn't get any activation at all because I was pretty much just ego lifting the weight up. And so of course I didn't see any gains, I didn't get any progress. And then I watched a video where a guy used 1 kilo and he's like a massive guy. He used 1 kilo and I was using 5 kilos and I was a skinny little bitch. So I changed my form. I took the advice of people in my comment section and I started using really strict technique. So basically just keeping my elbows locked all the time and trying to minimize arm movement again. With pronation and rising, there are a lot of different ways to go about it. What I usually do is either a partial range of motion. So let's say you're doing pronation, you just do a tiny little bit like that little top half, or I'll do a full range of motion. So you do the whole thing. Now this is also only a tiny part of the equation. You can do pronation and rising with your forearm supported to take your biceps out of the equation too. This is good if you're training on an arm day because then of course your arms don't get as fatigued and you can just focus on forearms without having to worry about sacrificing your arm gains. But if you want to solely target your forearms and completely remove your biceps from the picture, then just do it with your forearm supported. The range of motion is also a whole different story. I find that when I'm doing full range of motion, I get a lot more pain, or I'm more likely to get pain in my wrist area, in that kind of area. But I've also experienced pain with doing partial range of motion, so that's also something you should probably experiment with yourself. Now go practice what I've taught you and grow some fucking Popeye forearms.